Senator Sinema is recognized from her office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. Secretary Yellen and Chair Powell, it's good to speak with you both again. Arizonans are increasingly concerned about supply chain disruptions and inflation. As we know, global supply chains were and continue to be fragmented and dysfunctional due to the pandemic. In the bustle of the holiday season, families are frustrated to see delayed shipments and empty shelves. Ongoing disruptions reduce available supplies of goods, which tends to push prices higher, creating inflationary pressures. I'd like to hear from both of you on my question. Of the inflation that we're seeing, how much of it do you attribute to global supply chain disruptions? And Secretary Yellen, if you could respond first.
Well, we are seeing inflation all around the developed world. The United States is not alone in seeing an increase in inflation. And I think most countries are seeing disruptions that result from the pandemic. We've had a huge shift away from spending on services like going out to restaurants, traveling, staying in hotels, and a shift toward goods that need to be produced, that many of which are imported. This is true in the United States and in other countries as well. Another impact of the pandemic that we're seeing here and other countries are a reduction in labor supply because many people who have jobs that involve face-to-face contact don't yet feel comfortable going back to work, and childcare is disrupted, and so labor supply has been constricted, and this dramatic shift toward goods away from services combined with reduced labor supply and problems of when it's suddenly hard because of supply chain problems to get needed components for manufacturing or to stock shelves. That tends to incentivize more ordering to build inventories, which adds to the problem. I think both of these factors play into inflation in the United States and also to other countries.
Thank you. Secretary Powell?
Yes, so I guess I would just say you're looking for a number. I don't really have one close to hand, but if you just took out the inflationary effects around durable goods and other goods, which is really where the main inflation is coming from, certainly in core inflation, you would be at a substantially lower level of inflation. In addition, you are seeing energy prices going up. It's not really a supply chain issue mostly, but some of it is. But that's another. That if you look at headline inflation, that's going to be one of the big factor driving up headline inflation.
Thank you. Now, as we know, government is extremely limited in its ability to resolve supply chain issues, which are fundamentally working relationships between private businesses. Now, that being said, I know the administration is taking steps to address some of the staffing and logistics issues at our ports. Congress also recently acted by passing the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which makes a historic and necessary investment in our core infrastructure, like roads, bridges, transit, ports, and broadband. Republican Senator Rob Portman, my negotiating partner in crafting this deal, has said he believes our new law is crafted in a way that will reduce inflation. Secretary Yellen, do you agree with that assessment that this bipartisan infrastructure deal will reduce inflation?
Well, yes, I think over time, the infrastructure bill will increase the efficiency of our economy, modernize our ports, our rails, improve our roads and bridges, and enhance the potential output of the economy, raise our ability to supply goods and services efficiently, and in that sense, over time, will lower inflationary pressures.
Thank you. And my last question for you, Chair Powell. In February, I asked you if the Fed needed to achieve all three of the goals it set out: full employment, 2% inflation, and an outlook for greater than 2% inflation before raising interest rates. And you said yes. Now, recognizing that the Fed has made some initial moves to begin tapering bond purchases, Is the answer that you gave me in February on interest rates still true today?
So there's still a three-part test. That is still true. I would say that if you look at the one goal was to reach 2% inflation, and another was to achieve inflation above 2% for some time. I would say this is a decision for the committee to make, but I think the committee, I think in coming meetings, we will wind up saying that those inflation conditions have been met.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator